Hi, welcome to the Motion Picture Notion. I'm your host, Gabriel Burton, and today I'm going to talk about The Hunger Games versus a little Japanese film that I actually prefer, known only as Battle Royale. Essentially, the plot to Battle Royale is that the Japanese government, they will pick, it's sort of like a raffle, they'll pick one middle school class every year to go to this island. They'll give you like backpacks filled with supplies, like, food and water. Everybody's guaranteed food and water. In terms of weaponry, it's like whatever bag you get, that's what you get, like one kid gets a freaking machine gun, another kid gets like a paper fan. It's sort of like, what the hell am I going to do with this? And the idea is that these students are supposed to kill each other down to the last. They have 3 days to do it. They have explosive collars that are rigged to their neck. If they try to run away or screw with anything or not be in a place that they're supposed to at a particular time, the collars will detonate. If there are more than one student left on the final hour of the third day, all of the collars will automatically detonate. What really kind of drives this movie is the individual characters. There's like the main people that you root for. There are people who have been in Battle Royale before, one of whom is basically just a sick fuck who likes to kill people, but he's a really interesting character, more so if you've read the book. They kind of go a little bit more into why he is the way he is. At any rate, there was all sorts of talk about like an American version of Battle Royale coming out, and I was totally stoked. I mean, skeptical, but stoked. I'm sort of like, I feel like America might potentially completely ruin it, but I'm like really, really stoked about this movie potentially coming out, and I'm waiting and waiting and waiting, and I'm hearing all the buzz, and really what it came down to was the MPAA was like, well, obviously, if a movie like that was ever released in the United States, it would have to be rated NC-17. It's like, what? Don't get me wrong, it is a violent movie. There's like a blood-splattering violent movie. They're like, dude gets stabbed in the balls, like there's all sorts of violence in the movie. But it's an actual, like, legitimate story. And you also have to understand that, like, a couple years later, around the time when the talks for an American remake to Battle Royale were happening, you had movies like fucking Saw and Hostel. Last decade, NC-17 didn't exist. So I'm like, well, what the fuck? So I look like deeper into it, and it's like, well, it's the subject matter, the fact that it revolves around children. And I'm like, really? That doesn't make any sense. There's tons of movies where awful things happen to children. Well, it's a little bit too in your face. Okay, fine, whatever. So I just came to terms with the fact that it wouldn't happen. Then, earlier this decade, my roommate at the time told me, hey man, you want to come out with me and my girlfriend and we'll go watch The Hunger Games? And I'm like, yeah, sure, what the hell is The Hunger Games? Oh, it's really cool, man. It's about this class of kids that, like, they're basically, like, put in a, in like an arena, and they have to, there's, like, different groups, and, like, the one group has to win, and they have to find a way to kill all the other kids, and I'm like, this sounds really, 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 really familiar. So I go out to the theater and see it. It got a little soapy, like, towards the second half, but I mean, it was really geared towards teenagers, so I don't really, like, hate it. I would argue that the second film was a lot better. But, like, I'm sitting here in this theater, and, like, the scene where they first get in the Hunger Games, they all run for, like, this center supply shed, and in the process of doing this, there were, like, at least 3 kids that got killed. One of them was killed with, like, a freaking machete, but, like, all the violence was dialed down and the scene was edited, like, really, really, really choppy to get a PG-13. I'm watching this and I'm like, this is such a similar story. It's unnerving. And Battle Royale is so much better than The Hunger Games. I am fucking sorry. And this is rated PG-13. Hunger Games is rated PG-13. Well, there's not all that gore, but it's got kids killing each other. That was enough to get Battle Royale an NC-17 rating. I don't understand. I really don't. Not that, like, everybody didn't already know this, but the MPAA is one gigantic fucking joke. Off topic, I have ADD, but I'm just bringing this up for the context of the video. There was a film, an independent film that came out. It's a documentary on bullying. It was called Bully. Like, I watched that movie, and essentially, there was one scene in question where a kid was getting picked on the bus, and this dude says 3 consecutive F words, okay, while he's ragging on this fucking kid. And it's unpleasant to watch. It's a documentary on bullying. But because of that scene, the MPAA was pushing for an R rating, and the fucking people who made the movie are like, no, you're ruining what this movie is supposed to be. So finally they talked him down to a PG-13 rating, and it's got the fucking 3 F words in one scene. Hey, you know what other PG-13 movies have 3 F words? As good as it gets. The movie Trancers, lest I'm mistaken, actually has 4 F words. The big one with Michael Moore, if you stay to the end credits where they repeat a scene where a guy says an F word, 4 F words. Finding Forrester had 2 F words. The list goes on. The MPAA really loves to just sort of be like, well, hold on. They like to play the fucking moral authority. They're just as bad as fucking movie producers, you know? They come in with their own fucking half-witted ideas, and they completely fucking ruin shit. They need to make an American Battle Royale movie. Tell the MPAA to suck a fat fucking dick. Just fucking do it already. And that's all she wrote.